Hey guys, so the newest hero, Flair, has just been released a day ago. I got him when it was released, had a lot of time to test him, just on sort of 1v1s. Don't really know how he's going to work on like base versus base, like huge battles. We'll find that out basically tomorrow, but I know that most of you guys need to get this out today. So I'll basically be covering this guy, telling you if he's worth it to pull, telling you how to use him, which combos to use him, which skills to get, etc., etc. So if you're interested in this hero, this is definitely the video for you. So, like I just said, our boy Flair ketchup knife wielding man Vincent has just been released in most of the states, at least, that have already started Eden. This is week 2 in Eden, so for the newer states like 900s, 800 plus, you guys will get it on week 2 whenever you start your Eden. So let's talk about Flair. He's a defense fighter hero, which basically always means front row, and he needs fighters. Most of the fighter units are front row or defense heroes. You can actually run a lot of these heroes in the back row as well, but Flair is a little bit special. He needs to be ran in the front row, and that does kind of prohibit his abilities. So I'm briefly going to go over his skills. They have changed some of these since the first look video, basically, of the skills. So I'll kind of cover that and how that affects him. So this is the ability that they actually have changed so far, Flair Blade. It's his second ability. When he takes damage, very important, hero squad deals 250% damage to a random enemy squad. So this is no longer a counterattack. This is actually just whenever he receives damage, he's going to deal damage out. Meaning if he's burned and he takes burning damage, he'll dish out 250% damage to whoever burned him. So Scarlet Siren, for example. If he's poisoned by Scorpion and he takes the poison damage, he's going to return 250% damage. Not return, but he's going to deal 250% damage. If he's basic attacked, he'll deal 250% damage. So it's actually a little bit better now that it's taking any damage instead of just basic attacks. It's significantly better. It's basically like twice as good, but it deals it to a random enemy squad. So that makes it a little bit worse because normally, the damage dealers are going to be attacking more often, auto-attacking several times, like people who are paired up with Anna or Predator or something like that. They're going to auto-attack a few times. He would have counterattacked twice. Now he's just going to do it based on damage. So it kind of nerfs him a little bit that it's random, but the whenever taking damage is sort of a big buff. So that's kind of how it works now. It's not hugely different, but there are some little nuanced changes that make it a little bit different. Third and fourth, same exact as everybody else, 50% resistance, 50% might. His fifth ability, Burning Armor, he looks like the Terminator here, or some rendition of the Terminator. This influenced by resistance stuff is actually appearing on a lot of heroes, old and new heroes, influenced by might, influenced by resistance, whatever. It doesn't seem to be a huge deal, honestly. Normally, if someone has more stats than you, you're gonna lose. This kind of just reinforces that notion, so it's not like a huge thing. I haven't seen any real noticeable difference of this. Anyway, what this does is damage to the hero squad is negated by 25%, meaning he just has damage reduction. So that's all. 25% is kind of good, but it's nothing huge. When he takes damage, the hero squad gains 30% might, and that lasts till the end of the battle, and it can be stacked up to 10 layers. So again, this is whenever taking damage. So he will stack this up. This is if he takes basic attacks, skill damage, damage over time, like poison, burn, curse, whatever. He will do more damage, basically. He gains 30% might. Other than that, he just gets damage reduction. This stacks up pretty quickly, honestly. From my experience, if you put him in the front row, this is going to basically max out by like round 3 or 4. You're basically always going to take 3 auto attacks, and generally you're going to get hit by a skill or like some sort of damage over time in every round. So by round like 3 or 4, usually this is maxed. 300% might is no joke, but how high does it affect Flair? Well, I'll let you know in a minute. So his sixth ability plus 15% damage. Kind of weird on a defense hero. Normally you expect HP, but just kind of the way he is. They want him to do damage. 7th ability plus 40% might for fighters, which again is kind of weird, but they want him to do damage. This I don't really like that it's plus 40% might. It kind of hinders who he can get paired up with. Most of the fighters don't want might, they want resistance. So this seems to be kind of a little bit of a down point for him, but whatever. His 8th ability, Fire of Annihilation. Each round he burns 1 to 2 random enemies. This deals 150% damage and it only lasts for 1 round. So basically just a little bit of extra burning damage. When the hero squad takes action, he deals an additional 350% damage to all enemy squads in burning state. So this is kind of the important thing. He burns 1 to 2 random enemy targets each round. And then every time he takes action, which all that means is every time it's his turn. It doesn't mean when he auto attacks, when he uses a skill, when he uses like a Hopeness Lab ability or anything like that. That's not 3 individual actions. It's just 1 turn. So when it's the hero squad's turn, he'll deal 350% damage to burning enemies. That's it. Some people have been interpreting this as whenever an action is taken. So they get a Hopeness Lab ability, for example, that, auto attacks twice or something like that. That's not how it works. So this ability is kind of interesting. It has some synergy with burning heroes, for example, because you're basically just burning heroes every single round. And it also synergizes with himself because he's going to deal damage to burning units. So kind of an interesting ability. One of the problems is that when burns only last 1 round, it's generally going to last for the round prior. So it's not always amazing, but it is what it is. So overall, his skill set is a little bit interesting. There are some things in here that I think were kind of mistakes, and he could be significantly stronger, or at least a little bit stronger, to kind of be in the meta. But at the moment, let's go over his APCs. So the kind of best APC, like I said, we did a lot of testing one-on-one on tiles, which aren't always completely accurate to, in battle. For example, if you're in an LC battle and you're getting attacked by 100 people, how well does Flair do? It's oftentimes it's better to have like healing units, for example, than a guy who dies by round 8 but does a lot of damage if you're getting attacked. So keep in mind how you're kind of playing the game. If you're someone who goes in and attacks and leaves, then you're going to want to play a little bit differently with Flair. In any case, this is the best combo that we've kind of come up with through our testing, and a lot of people have been using this combo even before he was really released. This was kind of the combo that people suspected. So it's a full fighter unit combo. It's Flair, Dawn, and Siren. Very, very good. You can replace this with like Flair, Cannon, S, Siren. So if you don't have Dawn, that's fine. But Dawn's a pretty important unit for Flair. So this combo does really well against Scorpion. For example, all the Scorpion combos like Scorpion, Dawn, Scorpion, Siren, or Siren, Scorpion, Dawn, or any of those combos works really well against Scorpion. They're all fighter units, so it's obviously going to work well against shooters. Works really well against Nomad. But it basically gets decimated by Huntress for the most part, and Death Rider combos for the most part. Now, if people run Death Rider Scorpion Cannon, for example, or Death Rider Scorpion Dawn, this combo just gets absolutely deleted. So any vehicle, or any high damage vehicle combo is just going to obliterate Flair. That's kind of how it is. But any shooter combo he's going to beat, and then some of the mixed combos, it really, really does depend. So if we go in here and check out some battle reports, we have a battle report against Mr. King Dingaling, who was in State 545. He was helping me with testing during streaming. So here we kind of have some examples of some interesting battles, I guess. So this is sort of what you'll expect to see, is anywhere from around 70 to 140,000 damage if you're kind of equally matched. Obviously, if you're much stronger than someone, you're going to do more. But if you're pretty equal matched, you'll see around 70 to 140,000 skill kills every single round. So it's very consistent because it's just whenever he takes damage, he's just going to return it. It's status skills, it's not combat, etc. So he kind of cleans up this combo here. He does pretty well against Tech Priestess Wrath. Not always. Look, you can see here 144,000, so it's quite a lot. But let's show some other ones where he's not winning. So here against Huntress, like I said, he struggles against Huntress for sure. No matter really what combo you put him with, he's gonna struggle fairly hard. Here we have the Flair Dawn Siren versus Death Rider Scorpion Dawn. So let me play this battle report really quick so you can just sort of see. And you can take the moment here to slow down the YouTube video if you would like. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it in ×5 so it doesn't last forever. So as you can see there's some fire damage. The reason why you're kind of using this combo is, one, you're putting the fire damage on from Flair, but you're also putting the fire damage on from Siren. So his 8th ability is just going to get increased. And those numbers I said before, 70,000 to about 140,000, that's if you have another burning unit like Siren. If you don't have another unit that causes burn, he actually does significantly less damage. And I'll talk about that in a little bit when I talk about his synergies. Like I said, he gets kind of destroyed by vehicle units. That's sort of the way that it goes. Not just him, but it's a full fighter combo. So it's obviously going to be a little bit weaker to vehicles. That's just how the game works. It's rock, paper, scissors. You can see that he does decent damage, even to Death Rider. He does significant damage to Scorpion, like I said. That return damage is really, really good. You'll see when he gets auto-attacked, he'll return damage onto Scorpion sometimes for like 3,000-4,000 damage. Right there, he returned it onto Death Rider. So it is completely random. And that's just kind of the way it is. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, like I said. Because, for example, if Dawn attacks him and he returns it to Dawn, that's not as good as if he returned it to Scorpion. So, yeah. Right about now, he'll have a pretty much maxed might. Excuse me. I seem to sneeze every time. But at around round 3, round 4, he gets that max might from his 5th ability, so you'll be seeing the counterattack damage is going to do roughly the same every single time from here on. As he takes more and more damage, he's going to deal less damage in return. That's just how the way the game works. So the fact, again, that he doesn't have HP or resistance is a little bit weird for him because he's basically destined to be in the front row, but he's going to take a lot of damage is the problem. So as this battle moves along, it's kind of just Death Rider is just, killing them all. Even though Death Rider is not really targeting Flair too much, just these basic attacks, it doesn't really matter. They're not going to win. You can put shooters in here. It's still not going to win. So Scorpion's actually kind of hindering his Flair's damage here. But, I mean, that's what Scorpion does, right? So eventually we're just going to lose. That was about 2,020 damage right there after all the Scorpion poisons, which, like I said, it lowers the damage. So not terrible. And it's very, very consistent every time he takes damage. So another 2,000. Dawn auto-attacked him and he dealt 2,000 to Scorpion. So sometimes luck can definitely play a big role with Flair. Here we can see him just get deleted by Death Rider. Pretty simple right there. Death Rider really didn't even use skills on him, and he's already pretty much half health. And then this is going to round out the battle. Obviously, it's kind of a one-sided battle. So that's sort of what you can expect from Flair. So, like I said, those are sort of the APCs that this combo is going to lose against. We tried him with a lot. You can pair him with Tech Priestess Wrath, for example. It's okay. The main thing to understand about Flair is that you need two things to be paired up with Flair. You need a healer because, again, he has, for whatever reason, he has plus damage on his 6th ability and plus might. So you basically need a healer for Flair, otherwise he's just going to take too much damage and die. So that's one thing that kind of limits him. And you generally need a hero who burns. So if you don't have a hero who burns, he's not going to do enough damage, and I'll show that here. So here we have Flair, Lust, Heaven's Redemption. Not bad heroes, certainly. He only does 38 basically, 1,000 damage, compared to the 144, 75 1,000 damage that we had seen before. Granted, he did die from Huntress, but you're still just going to see a lot less damage when he's not paired up with... Here we go. So he lasted the whole time, did 20 skills, did 69,000. Last time he did 20 skills, which we'll see... Not there. I think it was in the first battle. Nope. Yeah, right here. So 144,000 when he did 20 skills. So it definitely helps to have a burning unit with this Flair guy. So it really restricts his options. You're basically stuck with either having a lot of damage and no heals, so you're probably going to die, or having not enough damage because you just have Flair and a healer, or Flair and 2 healers, or Flair and a support and a healer. So it's kind of a weird, he's sort of in a weird situation. Now I will say, if you're a lot stronger than your enemy, he will do pretty good things for you. Because of the fact that you don't need, at that point, you don't need those heals and that support, you can kind of just capitalize on damage. Flair is going to do a lot of damage, and you're not going to take much because you're a lot stronger. So kind of goes both ways. You know, if you're a super uber max player, you have 5 million, 100,000 combat edge points, Flair is going to do really well for you. So you will... A lot of people are sharing these battle reports, right, where someone is just crushing through bases with Flair. That's because they're like insanely overpowered. There's a battle report that I saw recently where the player had over 1,000 might, and he was fighting someone with 600 might. So, I mean, definitely when you see these battle reports being shared, you have to kind of think a little bit more than just what you see. Oh, Flair won. So that's about it for the kind of battle reports. Some other combos that you can run, like I said, you can run them with Cannon S. It's going to work pretty well. We've tried running him with shooters and everything like that. It's not amazing. Like I said, he really kind of needs 2 different things. Now, some people are going to try him out with Executioner and Inquisitor, and I recommend you try it for sure. Executioner and Inquisitor both have flaming kind of benefits, or a lot of synergy. Try it out, but it's not very good. It's pretty bad, but you know, you might as well see it with your own 2 eyes. Now, if you want to pair him up with, like I said, Tekrisa's Wrath, that's okay. That's a fine combo, but again, without that burning kind of synergy, he's not really going to do much damage. You can pair him with Retro. Any sort of tanky healing support is going to do pretty well with Flair. So those are kind of the options you can go to if you don't have Dawn. Dawn is really, really good with Flair because he's a very squishy unit. So Dawn is going to take a lot of that damage. Now let's talk about his skill order. His skill order for me, so when I got all the copies of my hero, of Flair, I only used two skills to see how he would fare. I went 1 through 5 and 8, and it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. If you only have 2 copies of Flair, I recommend getting his 8th ability. People have gotten his 6th first, so 1 through 6, and not 7, not 8, and it's decent. It's not going to be that big of a deal if you get his 6th or his 8th, but my personal recommendation would be to go for his 8th, then his 6th, and then his 7th. His 7th is really not very necessary. So I'll talk about his Hopeness Lab in a couple days, after everyone pulls him and stuff like that. I'll go over his best Hopeness Lab abilities. We'll see. We're going to have potentially a battle in Eden. The gates kind of are opening up, so potentially we'll have battles where we can really see how Flair shines. But for the most part, the testing that I've done for Flair and other people, my overall rating for Flair is kind of a low 3 out of 5. He's not a terrible hero, but he doesn't really bring much to the table that wasn't already there. So I was making the analogy, basically, if your Madden, your FIFA rating was a 90 and you get Flair, your FIFA rating is still a 90. It doesn't really go up from having him, but he's an interesting addition. Currently, I'm running him in my lineup. We'll see if that remains true. Maybe I'll take him out, but he's kind of on the cusp of being in the meta. So that's about it for Flair, guys. If you have more specific questions on him, like should I pull for him, you can always ask me personally on that in the comments below. You explain your situation, and then I can read it and see. But generally speaking, I would recommend going for this pool. If you don't have Scorpion maxed, just go for this pool anyway. Flair is a nice, it's not really a need to have, but Scorpion is definitely a need. If you also don't have Huntress or Retro, it's a really good pool overall. Even if Flair was terrible, I would still say go for the pool. Or if you don't have a lot of tickets, save up your tickets. You can get Flair, you can get Scorpion, and a new hero, and Retrograder next season. So either way, save up your tickets or pull it for Scorpion if you can max them. And that's about it. So I will catch you guys later. Hopefully you have learned. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Flair. Initial reactions aren't always the same. Maybe there's some crazy combo out there. If there is, if we discover it, I will be sure to let you guys know as soon as possible. That's about it, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Stay having fun. Keep eating that pizza. I'll catch you guys soon.
Wake up, early mornings, late nights, hopping on a different flight. What's the meaning of life, ayy? Wake up, same-ish, different day. Make a wish, call it pray. Am I sick, am I okay, ayy? Stay up